My son and his wife planned a Christmas party in my home, but told me it would be better if you didn't join, it'll be awkward for us. I quietly packed their bags and told them to celebrate elsewhere. Their shock when I changed the locks was absolutely hilarious. For as long as I can remember, Christmas has been the most important time of the year for my family. My late husband and I started a tradition of hosting Christmas at our house in Seattle decades ago, and even after he passed away, I carried it on for our children. I cooked huge meals, decorated every corner of the house, and made sure everyone felt welcome. I have two sons, Daniel and Noah. Both are grown, married, and have their own lives, but no matter how busy they got, they always came home for Christmas. That was the one thing that never changed. At least, that's what I thought. It started a couple of weeks before Christmas when Daniel called me out of the blue. His voice was calm but had an odd hesitation to it, like he was preparing himself for something. "Hey, Mom. So, Amanda and I wanted to talk to you about Christmas this year." I smiled, expecting to hear about their travel plans. "Oh, yes. I was just about to start planning the menu. Do you and Amanda have any requests this year?" A pause. "Actually," Daniel said slowly, "we were thinking we'd do things a little differently this time." That made me stop. Different? What did that mean? "Amanda and I are hosting a Christmas party," he continued. "And, we were hoping to have it at your place." At first, I didn't think I heard him right. "You want to have a party at my house?" "Yeah," Daniel said quickly, like he was relieved I understood. "We just figured it's a bigger space, and it's already decorated. It makes more sense than renting a venue, and everyone already knows where it is." Something about the way he said it made my stomach twist. But before I could say anything, Amanda's voice came through the phone, meaning she was on speaker. "We also think it would be better if you didn't join this time." My brain froze. "What?" "Not because we don't want you there," Amanda added quickly. "It's just that it's going to be more of a younger crowd. You know, more our age group. It would probably feel awkward for you." "Awkward? For me? In my own home?" I let out a small laugh, thinking they were joking. "You're telling me you want to host a party in my house, but don't want me to be there?" "It's not like that, Mom," Daniel said in a rushed voice. "We just figured you could still have Christmas, just in a way that's more comfortable for you. Maybe go to a friend's place or do something small." Amanda chimed in. "We're just trying to start a new tradition. It's nothing personal." I sat there in stunned silence. "A new tradition? In my home? Without me?" I finally managed to say, "What about Noah and his wife? Are they coming to this party?" "Oh, well," Daniel said vaguely. "They're doing their own thing this year, so it just kind of worked out." I didn't know what to say. My own son and daughter-in-law were telling me to leave my own house so they could throw a party for their friends. And they thought I would just step aside without question? I took a slow breath and kept my voice calm. "All right." Daniel exhaled like he'd just dodged a bullet. "Great. We'll come by in a couple of days to set things up." I forced a smile. "I'll make sure everything is ready for you." I sat with that conversation for a while, letting the emotions roll through me. Hurt, confusion, disbelief, and then something new. Clarity. Daniel and Amanda thought they could treat me like an Airbnb host. They expected me to quietly step aside so they could take over my home like it was some rental space. They were about to get a very different experience. First, I gathered every single thing they had left in my house, old clothes, keepsakes, random boxes they never bothered to pick up. I packed them neatly into labeled boxes. Then, I called a locksmith. The next morning, the locks were changed. 2 days later, Daniel and Amanda arrived with bags of party decorations and an entitled air of confidence. They didn't even knock. Daniel just pulled out his key and tried to unlock the door. Nothing. He frowned, tried again. Still nothing. "Mom? I think something's wrong with the lock," he called out. I opened the door with the biggest, sweetest smile I could manage. "Oh, Daniel." "Amanda." What a surprise. They looked completely lost. Why doesn't our key work?" Daniel asked. I glanced at the stacked boxes on the porch and nodded toward them. "I went ahead and packed up all your stuff. You won't be celebrating here this year." Amanda's face went white. Daniel looked stunned. "Mom, wait. What?" I kept my voice light. "Well, you said you were planning a party here, but since I wouldn't be included, I figured you'd need a different place. I just made things easier for you." Amanda was fuming. "You're kicking us out? But we already told people to come here." "Oh dear," I said, feigning concern. "I hope you find a new venue in time." Daniel was still in shock. "Mom, this is insane." "We didn't mean it like that." "Oh, you made yourself perfectly clear," I said, still smiling. "You wanted a Christmas party without me. And now, you'll be having one without my house, too." Amanda turned to Daniel, whispering something furiously. Daniel sighed and looked back at me, as if hoping I'd change my mind. I didn't. Not this time. And that's when it really started to sink in for them. Daniel's face went from shock to frustration in seconds. He let out a bitter laugh, rubbing the back of his neck like he was trying to stay calm. Mom, come on. This is ridiculous. You can't just change the locks and throw us out like this. I crossed my arms and leaned against the doorway. I didn't throw you out, Daniel. You were never living here. You just assumed my home was yours to use as you pleased. Amanda took a sharp breath. I could tell she was furious, but was trying to keep her voice even. We weren't trying to be rude. We just wanted to host a party in a place that made sense. It wasn't personal. I tilted my head. Not personal? You told me I should go somewhere else for Christmas because I would make your party awkward. In my own home. Daniel looked away, jaw clenched. He knew there was no way to spin this. But Amanda? She wasn't ready to give up. You're being so dramatic, she snapped. It was just a party. We weren't asking you to leave forever. I raised an eyebrow. But you expected me to just go along with it. No questions. No objections. Silence. Daniel sighed, rubbing his temple. Okay. Maybe we should have asked differently, but what's done is done. Can we just look? The party is tomorrow. People are expecting it here. Let's be reasonable. We'll still clean up after, and you won't have to do anything. I stared at him. He really thought this was about housework? Amanda suddenly changed tactics. Her voice softened, her expression turning into something close to fake sympathy. Mom, we know it's hard for you now that Dad's gone, she said gently. Maybe that's why you're reacting this way. You're holding onto old traditions because it reminds you of him. But things change. It's time to let go a little. I felt something snap inside me. You do not get to talk about my grief like that, I said, my voice ice cold. Amanda's eyes widened, but I wasn't done. I have let go plenty. I let my kids grow up and have their own lives. I let go of the idea that Christmas would always be exactly the same. But what I won't let go of, what I will never let go of, is my self-respect. Daniel held up his hands. Mom, we didn't mean, I cut him off. You and Amanda thought you could push me out of my own house and act like I should be grateful for it. And now, when it didn't go your way, you're acting like I'm the unreasonable one? Amanda gritted her teeth, her patience clearly gone. Fine, you've made your point. But you should know that you're making a huge deal out of nothing. People are going to hear about this and it's not going to look good for you. I raised an eyebrow. Are you threatening me with gossip? Amanda crossed her arms. I'm just saying people are going to have opinions. Our friends, family. Noah and his wife. You might not like how they see this. I laughed. Actually laughed. You mean Noah? The same Noah who was just texting me this morning about how ridiculous this whole thing is. Amanda's smirk vanished. Daniel blinked. Wait. What? I turned my phone around and showed them Noah's messages. I had told him everything right after Daniel's call, and he was livid. Noah, wait. You mean they're trying to throw a party at your house and told you not to come? Me, yup. Noah, that's so messed up. You're their mother. What did they expect? Mom, don't let them get away with this. Amanda went pale. She had clearly been banking on Noah taking their side. Daniel ran a hand down his face, looking exhausted. Mom, I swear, I didn't mean to push you out. I just thought it would be fun to try something different this year. I shrugged. You're free to do something different, Daniel. Just not in my house. It didn't take long for word to spread. At first, Amanda and Daniel tried to control the story. They told Amanda's family and a few mutual friends that I had overreacted to a harmless idea. They framed it like I had misunderstood their intentions, making me seem like an old, stubborn woman who couldn't handle change. But then, the full truth came out. Noah and his wife, Rachel, were not having it. Rachel sent a message in the family group chat, making it clear where they stood. Rachel, I don't know what's worse, that you thought it was okay to exclude your own mother, or that you're trying to play the victim now that it backfired. Either way, count us out of whatever party you're trying to salvage. That was the moment everything collapsed for Daniel and Amanda. One by one, people started backing out of their party. Friends who had been invited reached out to me, asking if it was really true that they had planned a party in my house and told me not to come. Once I confirmed it, most of them were disgusted. The final blow? Amanda's own parents sided with me. Her mother called me, completely horrified. I don't know what she was thinking. We raised her better than this. Please know that we don't support this at all. By December 24th, Daniel and Amanda were desperate. With most of their guests canceling and no other venue lined up, they had no Christmas plans left. That's when I got another call from Daniel. I let the phone ring twice before answering. Yes. His voice was tired, almost embarrassed. Mom, can we talk? And that's when I knew they weren't calling to argue. They weren't calling to guilt trip. They were calling because they had lost. But I wasn't about to make this easy for them. I took a slow sip of my tea. Talk about what, Daniel? I asked. Silence. Then, about Christmas. I let the silence stretch between us. Daniel sounded drained, like a man who had finally realized he was standing in the wreckage of his own choices. Mom, please. I know we messed up. Can we just talk? I wasn't going to give him an easy way out. I don't know, Daniel. Last time we talked, you and Amanda were very clear that I wasn't welcome at my own house. What changed? I heard him sigh heavily. Everything okay? Everything changed. The party is ruined. Everyone backed out. Even Amanda's parents are mad at us. And Noah, he won't even pick up my calls. What did you expect? I asked, keeping my voice calm. You didn't just hurt me, Daniel. You showed everyone exactly what kind of people you and Amanda are. And they didn't like what they saw. Another long silence. Mom, I don't want this to turn into some permanent thing. We got carried away. We were trying to do something new, and it went too far. I get that now. I took another sip of my tea. And what is it that you want now? Daniel hesitated. I want us to fix this. I want to come home for Christmas. With Amanda. I let his words hang in the air. Now they wanted to come home. Now that their plans had fallen apart. I knew I had the upper hand, and I wasn't about to let go of it just yet. Let me think about it, I said finally. Mom, come on, I cut him off. No, Daniel. You and Amanda expected me to step aside without question. You didn't give me the courtesy of a conversation before making your little plan. So now, I'll take my time deciding if I even want you here. And with that, I ended the call. I expected them to wait. Maybe to text me a few more times, or have Amanda try her usual tactic of fake niceness. But instead, Amanda showed up. At my doorstep. Alone. I opened the door and found her standing there, arms crossed, her face carefully neutral. But her eyes? She was seething. I don't want to fight, she said. I didn't move. Then why are you here? She sighed like she was trying to be patient, like I was the one being difficult. I just want to talk face to face. Can I come in? I glanced at the spot where her Christmas party decorations had been sitting a few days ago. The same spot where I had handed them their packed up belongings. Then I gave her a smile. No. Amanda's mouth tightened. Really? After everything, you're going to be petty. I raised an eyebrow. Petty? Amanda, you and my son tried to kick me out of my own home. If anything, I think I've been incredibly generous by even answering your calls. Her eyes narrowed. The polite mask was slipping. Daniel is miserable, she said. This whole thing has destroyed our Christmas. We had to cancel everything. I didn't even blink. Not my problem. She let out a sharp laugh, shaking her head. You don't get it, do you? You're breaking up this family over a misunderstanding. I tilted my head. A misunderstanding? Amanda, you and Daniel told me to leave my own house because I would be awkward at your party. You didn't ask. You didn't include me. You assumed I would just disappear like some piece of old furniture you were tired of looking at. I took a step closer. And now that you're the ones left out, you suddenly care about family? Amanda's jaw clenched. She wasn't expecting me to push back this hard. So what? You're just going to cut us off? Refuse to see your own son and future grandkids. My heart skipped a beat. Future grandkids? My mind raced. Was Amanda pregnant? No, she would have led with that if she was. This was a tactic. A threat disguised as sentiment. I met her eyes. Don't use potential grandkids to manipulate me, Amanda. That won't end well for you. She scoffed. Manipulate? Wow, you really think the worst of me, don't you? I crossed my arms. You made sure of that yourself. She sighed dramatically, then dropped her hands to her sides. Fine. If you won't let us come over for Christmas, then at least come to ours. We'll make space. You can even invite Noah and Rachel. I almost laughed. Now, suddenly, they were willing to make space? Now, after their party had crashed and burned, after their friends had dropped them, after Amanda's own parents had scolded them, I didn't even hesitate. No. Amanda's eyes flashed with something sharp and ugly. You're really going to die on this hill, huh? I smiled. Oh, absolutely. Amanda turned on her heel and stormed off, getting into her car without another word. I expected that to be the end of it. But less than an hour later, Daniel called again. This time, his voice wasn't apologetic. It wasn't pleading. It was cold. I just talked to Amanda. Mom. I can't believe you. I didn't say anything. I just let him talk. You're really shutting us out over a stupid party? I took a deep breath. No, Daniel. I'm shutting you out because you thought it was okay to replace me in my own home. And now that you're facing the consequences, you're trying to flip it on me. Mom, this is ridiculous. You're acting like I cut him off. You want to know what's ridiculous, Daniel? You. Coming to me only after your plans failed. Trying to act like I'm the one being cruel when you had no problem excluding me first. Silence. Then, The words that nearly made my blood run cold. If Dad were still here, he wouldn't let you act like this. I felt like the air had been sucked out of the room. I closed my eyes, took a slow, steady breath. And then I said, if your father were still here, he would be ashamed of you right now. Daniel went silent. He knew I meant it. And he knew I was right. Daniel's words hung in the air like a slap. If Dad were still here, he wouldn't let you act like this. I felt something deep inside me crack, but I refused to let my voice shake. If your father were still here, I said, my tone like steel, he would be ashamed of you right now. Silence. I could hear Daniel breathing, but he had nothing to say. He knew the truth in my words, even if he didn't want to admit it. Mom, you don't mean that, he finally muttered. Oh, I absolutely do. There was another long pause, and then Daniel's voice changed. Not remorseful, not understanding, but angry. So that's it? You're choosing to push me away over one mistake. I felt pure disbelief at his audacity. You pushed me away first, Daniel. Mom, come on. It wasn't like that. You told me to leave my own home for Christmas. You said it would be awkward for me to be at a party in my own house. You didn't just make a mistake, Daniel. You made a choice. And now you don't like the consequences. Another heavy silence. Then he scoffed. You're being so dramatic. It was just one party. You're acting like we betrayed you. That's when I saw it. Daniel didn't get it. He still thought he was the victim here. That's when my voice dropped into something colder than even I expected. Daniel, you didn't just throw a party without me. You treated me like I didn't matter. You made it clear that I was an inconvenience in my own home. And the moment you realized you couldn't use me, you suddenly cared about family again. I could hear his breathing pick up. His anger was turning into something else now, not guilt, but panic. Because he could feel this slipping away. Mom, I wasn't finished. Do you even hear yourself? You're not apologizing because you understand what you did. You're apologizing because you lost. Because your friends backed out. Because Amanda's family is mad at you. Because Noah won't talk to you. Because you ruined your own Christmas and you're looking for someone to blame. He had no response. Because I had just said what we both knew was true. Finally, after a long stretch of silence, his voice came back flat and cold. If this is how you want things to be, fine. I gave a small nod, even though he couldn't see me. Fine. Then I guess we're done here. I exhaled. I guess we are. And then, for the first time in my life, I hung up on my own son. The moment I ended the call, I just stood there, my hand gripping the phone so tightly that my fingers hurt. I expected to feel victorious, powerful, maybe even proud of myself for standing my ground. But all I felt was empty. My son, the same little boy who used to sit on the kitchen counter and watch me bake Christmas cookies, had just walked away from me without even trying to fix what he had broken. And that was the true betrayal. Not the party. Not the disrespect. But the fact that when faced with his mistake, he would rather lose me than admit he was wrong. I don't know how long I stood there, just staring at the floor. But then my phone buzzed again. It was Noah. I answered immediately. Mom? Are you okay? The second I heard his voice, something in me broke. I didn't cry, but my voice was tight. I don't know. Noah was quiet for a second, then sighed. I just got off the phone with Daniel. He's mad. But mostly, I think he's scared. I let out a humorless laugh. Scared of what? Of losing you. I shook my head, even though he couldn't see me. Then he shouldn't have treated me like I was disposable. Noah exhaled. You're right. And I told him that. But you know Daniel, he has too much pride to admit when he's wrong. I swallowed hard. I didn't want this, Noah. I didn't want to fight. I wanted my family. I know, Mom. I could hear the sympathy in his voice, but also the frustration. Noah had always been the level-headed one, the one who tried to keep peace. Daniel and Amanda need to learn this lesson, he said after a long pause. You did the right thing. And if they can't see that yet, that's on them. I nodded slowly. Are you still coming over? Of course. Rachel and I wouldn't miss it for the world. I smiled through the ache in my chest. Good. I need you here. We'll be there soon, Mom. And listen, don't let them ruin this for you. You deserve to have a good Christmas. I didn't say it out loud, but I knew he was right. That night, Noah and Rachel arrived, arms full of gifts and food. The house was warm and bright, the smell of cinnamon and roasted turkey filling every corner. And for the first time in days, I felt something close to peace. But there was still a shadow over everything. Daniel didn't call again. Amanda didn't text. They had gone completely silent. I told myself it was for the best, that if Daniel wanted to come back, he had to be the one to make the first move. But the truth? The truth was, even after everything, I still wanted to hear from him. I wanted him to come to his senses. To show up at my door like he had as a kid when he got into trouble, to stand there awkwardly, kicking the floor, before mumbling, "Sorry, Mom." But I also knew that this wasn't something I could fix for him. Daniel had to be the one to fix it. As the night wore on, I sat by the fireplace, watching the flames flicker. I thought about my husband, how he used to sit in this exact spot, a cup of coffee in his hands, watching the boys open their gifts. What would you have done? I whispered. The fire crackled, the warmth pressing against my skin. And I knew the answer. He would have stood by me. Just like Noah had. Just like I had stood by myself. And that was my closure. So as the clock struck midnight and Christmas Eve melted into Christmas Day, I let go of the sadness. And for the first time in a long time, I let myself feel free.